Morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Rich Davey, President of New York City Transit, joined here, I'll speak slow as the other cameras being set up, joined here by Chief Michael Kemper of New York Transit, working closely together on a bunch of things. We have, obviously, a particular issue to talk about today. Behind me is Pat Warren, who's our Chief Safety and Security Officer at MTA, and Demetrius Critchlow, who's the Senior Vice President of Subways. Look, I'm here today to be, frankly, outraged at what's happened over the last 24, 36 hours. We've had someone or some group of individuals who have vandalized over 70 windows, impacting about 35, 36 trains. The chief will have the details in a moment. That has severely impacted the service that we've been trying to run over the last day and a half, so much so that we still have the W line, which is suspended because we do not have enough trains to run that have windows. You know, I often say we don't get it perfect at New York City Transit. We try like heck. But yesterday, to have, as I said, a group of individuals or individual disrupt the commute of hundreds of thousands of New Yorkers and probably cost us tens of thousands, if not more, dollars to repair these windows is outrageous. I do want to call out a couple folks before I ask the chief to say a few words as well. Obviously, we're cooperating fully with NYPD to catch these criminals, but our work crews worked feverishly overnight to repair many of those trains, and we are literally have exhausted, depending on the fleet class, the number of windows in our supply, and are now stealing windows off of cars that are in our train yard. So that gives you a sense for how acute this issue is. Are now stealing windows off of cars that are in our train yard. So that gives you a sense for how acute this issue is. It might seem like a prank, or I don't know what is in the mindset of these criminals, but it sure as hell ain't helping us deliver service for New Yorkers. At the same time, they're coming back because school is obviously in session. Folks are coming back from their summer vacation, and we're adding more service. As we have committed to over these last weeks. This is going to impede our ability to do that. I'll let the chief say a few words again, working very closely. I will say this, though, and I've said this a few times. I don't know of a place that has more cameras than a Las Vegas casino than we do. We will find you. We have your picture, I have no doubt. We will find you and prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law. Chief?
Thank you, President Davey, and I just want to echo what President Davey just said. This is absolutely unacceptable, and I'm pretty confident we'll find out what occurred. But yesterday, our partners at the MTA notified us about multiple instances where train car windows were vandalized. Specifically, they were broken and they were shattered. Preliminarily, we believe these acts occurred yesterday, anywhere between midnight into the early morning hours of this morning. As of now, we are aware of upwards of 78 windows that were shattered and attached to upwards of 36 trains. The trains affected by these acts of vandalism are predominantly confined to the yellow line, the N, the W, the Q, the B, and the D and F. As far as exact location of occurrence, too early to tell and to be determined. These lines run through multiple boroughs, including Manhattan, Brooklyn, and Queens. The good news is that I'm confident, as I opened up with, I'm very confident that we will identify the locations of occurrence. As the video system, as President Davey just mentioned, the video system in the New York City subway system is vast and robust and proves to be extremely helpful in so many cases, and cases just such as this. Our Detective Bureau is aware of these crimes, and a criminal investigation into the acts has begun. Let me say this: breaking windows on trains, causing them to be put out of service, not only inconveniences our riders, but it's a crime. And when caught, you will be arrested, and you're going to be facing felony charges. In response to these crimes, we in the Transit Bureau have increased our uniform presence and plainclothes presence along platforms in order to prevent future similar acts of vandalism and crimes from occurring. I'll end with this. If anyone has any information in relation to who's responsible for this, whether it's a one person or a group of people, we urge you to call our NYPD Crime Stoppers hotline at 1-800-577-TIPS. Thank you.
And just before we take questions, I just want to echo what the chief said. If our customers are our eyes and ears out there, if you see something, say something. Whether it's to Crime Stoppers, let a station agent know. Anyone in an MTA uniform. There are police officers out throughout our system on a frequent basis. If you see someone, in authority, please let them know. Because as I said, it's only a matter of time. We will find these criminals. With that, Tim, happy to take questions.
Gus Rosendale from NBC4.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Rich, Chief, I know you said the location's still undetermined. Could
Yeah.
you speak a little bit more? It doesn't sound like these trains were in a train yard. They were actively being used. They were rolling.
I mean, at this point, I think it's a little too early to tell. I think that's probably what will emerge. What we do know is all of the damage was from the inside of the train. That's what's emerging as opposed to outside. So I think that's one thing that we're clear. But again, we'll look. We also have a video. I'm not a shock. We have video in our yards as well, which we'll be pulling. So if it's folks that are trying to sneak into yards, again, we'll find you, as we do many of the graffiti artists out there, too.
All right, we got Tom Negerman here from ABC7.
Yeah, Mr. Davey, just wanted you to speak a little bit more about your level of frustration. I mean, we know how hard you work to provide
Pissed
service.
off. I mean, pissed off. Can I say pissed off? I mean, seriously. We work. I have train crews sitting in that break room right now who don't have W trains to run, and they want to be out there. I mean, we have worked our tails off, and again, we don't always get it right, but we work hard at it. That gentleman right there, Mr. Critchlow, is running the best subway service in 10 years. Okay, 10 years. And it's not by accident. It's because there are a lot of people in this organization who are working hard. When this stuff happens, it frustrates the hell out of me, and I know it frustrates the hell out of our commuters because they just want to get home, they want to get to work, they want to get around the city. And we can't do that right now because of what occurred. I'm not pissed at you, by the way. Sorry.
All right, James Ford from Pixel 11.
Thank you. A couple quick questions. One, is service restored? And if not, when can riders expect it to be back? And I don't know, do any of you have any concern that by showing the problem that it might encourage others from copycatting it?
So maybe I'll let Demetrius talk a little bit about service. That is gradually coming back. We still have issues in the W. I mean, no, I think a show of force to say that the MTA, New York City Transit, is serious. If this happens, this is a crime, we will fully prosecute you as much as we can. And as usual, we have, the tremendous cooperation of Chief Kemper and his team. So, no, I think it sends a message that if you do this, you will be caught, and we will throw the book at you. If I have to go to court every single time and remind the judge, jury, and anyone else that this impacted hundreds of thousands of commuters who couldn't be there that day to express their outrage, I'll do that too. But Demetrius, I'll let Demetrius talk about the service.
In order to supply sufficient in-service, we canceled the W service to support the in-service to give the most robust in-service. So we have roughly around 11 trains that we're still repairing. We'll continue to repair them throughout this morning and afternoon. The hope is to have as many as back as service this afternoon, but until we get a little closer, we won't know exactly how much of the W service will still be impacted.
All right, Doug Williams. Doug from CBS 2.
Thank you. Chief, I think this one's probably for you. I believe in 2020 when international graffiti became such a problem, there was a special unit installed for the security of trains in the train yards. I know that it's still unclear in your investigation whether these trains were in train yards or in active use, but is that unit still installed?
Yeah, it is. You're talking about our Vandal Squad, and they work for the Transit Bureau. Under a Special Operations Division. And look, I mentioned before, right now this investigation has begun. It's initiated. As the day moves forward, as the minutes, the hours, we're going to learn a lot. I think President Davey and myself were pretty clear. We're going to find out exactly where this occurred and who's responsible. Depending on how that investigation proceeds and what we learn during the course, that'll dictate if the Vandal Squad has any sort of involvement in it. But to answer your question, yes.
Nolan Hicks from the New York Post.
Yeah, hi. So how do you bust 36 trains and not get caught?
You're going to get caught. Why that they didn't get caught during the moment, I don't know. I'm sure that'll be one of the questions that the police will ask the suspect or folks that they pick up. But as you know, we're combing through video to see what exactly occurred. But clearly, back of the train, these are cars that tend to be away from conductors, so away from our staff. So it's not as if our staff were alerted to this per se. But as I said, I think it's just a matter of time.
What's the biggest hang-up when it comes to fixing the trains and getting them back online? Why is it taking so long?
Well, the number of trains for one, but the fact that, as you can see, a lot of these are some of our older car classes. We don't have thousands of windows in stock. There's been supply chain issues, certainly over the last couple of years, and they just don't make them anymore. So we're stealing windows off of our cars in our yards right now that aren't in service to put these back in service. So, look, 36 trains, 75, 76, I think, plus windows. It's not like, cleaning your window at home or changing to spring to fall to summer your screen door. This is complicated stuff.
Evan Simcoe, Bednarski, the New York Daily News. Evan.
Hey, Rich.
How are you?
Can you just talk a little bit more about, sort of how it was distributed across these trains? You said, usually rearward cars, multiple cars per train. Just help me flesh that out.
Yeah, I think in general it was sort of 1 or 2 windows per train, which is why, if you do the math, it's 76, I think, windows, as the chief said, upwards of 36 cars. So looks like it was a 1-2Z smash and run. I don't know. Well, again, we'll pull the video. We'll see what occurred. But, again, it's I don't know what people are thinking. Is it a prank? Is it an emotionally disturbed individual? I have no idea. But all I can tell you is it's impacting hundreds of thousands of commuters at a time when they most need our service, which is coming back out of summer vacation and it's coming back to school.
I think it's 78.
78. I stand corrected.
Lizette Nunez, Fox 5.
Hi, good morning. You kind of hinted about this. You have some video, right? So do you have a description on these individuals? Do we expect them to be teenagers, full-grown adults, maybe anything you could give us here on the description?
I don't think we're prepared for that yet, to provide that yet.
It's to be determined. So we're not prepared to talk about any sort of video that we have in our possession right now. But as the day moves forward and as this investigation moves forward, we'll certainly release that to the media. And we say this all the time, the public is our greatest partner. We release video, we release still images of people we're looking for all the time, and we get cooperation. And as I ended my remarks with our Crime Stoppers hotline, 1-800-577-TIPS. Look, maybe somebody saw something yesterday. Maybe someone was on a train. Maybe somebody heard a conversation. We urge anyone that meets that criteria, if you will, to call our Crime Stoppers hotline. And I remind you, anyone listening to me right now, you can remain anonymous if there's any fear to that. So thank you.
Is that New York 1 back there? I'm sorry, who?
Ricardo, Telemundo.
Sorry, Ricardo, Telemundo.
Any concerns about copycats? This would be really disruptive if people, want to follow that bad example.
Yeah, Ricardo, that question came up earlier. No, I think, as I said, standing here with the chief and saying that this is, in no uncertain terms, outrageous. We will find you. We will catch you. We're going to throw the book at you. These are felony crimes. These are serious crimes. So it's not just an inconvenience for, hundreds of thousands of New Yorkers yesterday, today, maybe even until tomorrow. But it's costing us tens of thousands. We don't have the final bill yet. And my guess it'll be upwards of $100,000 in materials and labor to get these trains back in service. Serious crimes. If anyone's tempted to do it or wants to repeat it, as I said, we will find you, we will prosecute you to the end of the earth.
All right, we've got the legendary Eddie Alonzo from Channel 4 to wrap it up. Eddie.
Do we know what was used? Crowbar, rocks? Do we know?
We don't. We don't know what was used.
All right, Nolan Hicks, I think, had one more.
Sure.
So a couple of years ago, there were a bunch of 7 trains that got smashed in thematically similar fashion. Do you think you're better able to handle this than that? And what lessons did you learn from the 7 train smashings?
I might let the chief talk about that. I think that predates my arrival, but I think one thing is certain: as we continue to put cameras out in the system, right now, as we continue to do every day, I think that's a lesson learned. We can't have enough security features in our system, which we continue to do. But maybe I'll ask the chief to speak specifically about that incident.
We're aware of that incident. We're aware of other incidents also. We're aware of other individuals that have been arrested before the New York City subway system for causing destruction to MTA property. So to answer your question, we're aware, and certainly investigators are aware also. That's all I'll say on that.
All right, thanks, everyone.